Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the U World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the U World Order or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.
Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast. I'm Jill Hart, your host, and joining me today is Sarah McMillian. Sarah is a Napoleon Hill instructor who does group coaching and one-on-one work to bring holistic teams together to work in new ways for a better world. I love that. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Hi, Jill. How are you?
I am doing awesome today. So, how did you get started in all of this? Did you just wake up one day and decide, I'm going to help people with Napoleon Hill's thoughts?
Oh, no, no, far from it. So my history was, I was in nursing. I was a nurse for 24 years. And in 2015, I had what people call like an awakening. And very rapidly started to see a lot of, a lot wrong in the NHS as we have over here, the health service. And I went to train as a nutritionist, I went to do acupuncture, and I went off to do body work. And the more I got into these modalities, the more sort of my eyes started to open. And I was like, where have I been all these years? And I could see all the patterns in my patients that were stemming from emotional and mental issues, which I had never ever been taught. It was just the physical body. We tracked the physical body. We didn't look at anything else. And the more I went on, and the more I sort of tried to speak to people, my colleagues around, and they were all like, whatever, Sarah, sort of like she's going a bit weird. So in January 2020, I was in Australia. I used to live in Australia. I went out there for 5 years. And it was New Year's Day. And I thought, I'm going to end my nursing career. And it was 10 o'clock in the morning, so it was midnight in the UK. And I pulled my license off the NMC and then cried for about 2 days. And I think there was a big identity loss. It had been my life, but it had been, most of my life at that point. And then obviously we went into lockdown. So it was a bit of I had no idea at the time, that anything like that was going to happen. So I started up doing breath work online. I was quite brave because I'd never done anything like this. I'd never worked for myself. I'd always been a paid employee. And then what was happening is I was going so far. I was starting work, and I started to build clientele up, and then I was pulling back, but I didn't understand what was going. I didn't really think about it, because I didn't think, to be quite honest. I didn't think. I didn't think. And I'd done all this like healing work, clearing work. I've been in body work. I've been in breath work, and I'd done immense amount. I was quite a destructive person back then. And physically I really changed. A lot of things changed with me. The way, if you look at a picture of me way back, it's a completely different person. And I think because of my childhood trauma, which I wasn't aware of either, I became quite a manipulative person. I would actually even say I was on the border of being a bit narcissistic with people, because I was so emotionally shut down. So I went through this big healing journey. But when I went into a mentorship, which came up in about 2 years ago, and I started doing mindset work, I was like, it blew me away. I actually went into it for manifestation, law of attraction. I'm going to do this year-long course and mentorship, and it was so much more. It was so much more. It doesn't do this for everyone. It was my choice. I decided to pull away from the manifestation and really go into myself, because what I came to understand is the way we feel about ourselves is as far as we can ever go. And despite all the work I'd done, I still didn't have a very good concept of myself. I didn't still feel good enough. I compared myself to people. I had a big fat thought image. I always thought I was fat. I had this thing about being fat. A better confidence, and I came across as confident, but inside I wasn't confident. I was, that why is that person doing well? Why can't I do it? Why? And there was always that going on, and there was always this conflict. The voices in the head that talk to each other and have this conversation. And you're like, whoa, 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 completely lost in it. So, so yeah, really started digging into that, and as I'm in this thing, everything started to fall apart. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be in a mentorship that you're like, making all this money, and I was surrounded by people making some money, and everything's falling apart. But what I understand it to be, now is that as all this goodness is coming in, as I'm, doing all this work, goal work, and repeating, and in this repetition, all this old stuff was coming up and out. That was really what I felt like it was hidden. It wasn't hidden. It's just I had no control over my mind at all. So that led me to go and train with Napoleon Hill about a year and a half ago now. And I went over to West Virginia last July. Yeah, last July. And started to do the training as an instructor, but also stayed in mentorship. So I was doing like double whammy. And the more I went on, the more I was observing people, and the more, I was looking at like all these people are doing really well, and some people that are not doing so well, and there's people that are just doing awful. What's going on? So I really started to look at that and got more and more interested in, I suppose, what I call spiritual embodiment now. Most people are so out of themselves in the head, in the mind, just all this clutter going on, and not in the bodies. And I feel like we are, we're the spiritual being that needs to come into physical embodiment, because we're here on this earth. We're not off on 5D. We're here on this earth, and we're in this duality, and we've got to navigate this duality at the same time as navigating our spiritual, our intellectual, and the physical body. So we're navigating all three, and it blows people's heads off. We're all over the place. And I think because energetically everything's getting so heightened, people are just really finding things hard now. So I started doing a coaching course, but I found that people, because of these paradigms, their self-limiting beliefs, they were pulling them back so much. So I brought about a course which I named The Foundations, and I just finished the first round of it last week. So we worked really around forgiveness. We did a lot of work around forgiveness. Now, I'm not saying this in a religious sense, because I'm not religious, but the Bible talks about forgiveness all the way through. And the Bible is a spiritual book.
So such the basis of everything is forgiveness for yourself and for everyone else, and getting over the good and the bad of things. Just, you got to move on, reframe it in your head so that it serves you better, and don't worry about it.
Let it go. Yeah,
let it go.
Let it go. And give thanks for that experience. because
Yeah.
it's those experience that makes us like strengthen our character, that make us grow into the person. You know, I believe we've come here to experience that contrast. I've had my 50 years of that now. I don't want that anymore. I want the best now. You know, I want the good life. I want to enjoy life. I want joy. I want happiness and fulfillment. I've experienced all that. It's over. And the only thing it was doing was living in the past, in the body. So once we can bring it up into the conscious mind, let it come up into the conscious mind, speak it out, write it out, it no longer has a hold on us unless we choose to hold on. Because some people want to hold on. They don't want to let go. So it's a choice, but it's the easy way to let go. And, you know, a lovely example of this is a client called me up today and said she'd had this dream last night, and she said it's been coming, things have been coming to her as she's been doing this work, and we spoke about it, and I said, right, she said that, you know, it feels heavy, but I said, go and write it out, speak it out. You've spoken out to me, just write it out, jot it down what it is, burn it off, rewrite the script. She called me a couple of hours later and I'm like, I feel really good. So I feel really good. I've just changed it all like that. But all, you know, from waking up in the morning till what, 3 o'clock, it felt all this heaviness. And I just needed that reminder. And I need it still off my mentor. I still need to be reminded, you know, Sarah, sometimes when like, just that, I'll do it, you know, I'll do it, I'll get on with it. So yes, so we work on, yeah, it's forgiveness. Then we work, it's tuning in with what people call the shadow, you know, the shadow, the inner child, but it's the parts of us, you know, the parts work. So, but what it's really about is getting in touch with what's going on with feelings. Oh, am I out of alignment? What's going on? Why have I been pulled out of alignment? Why do I not feel so good? Let's just check in with myself. So we're able to do that really quickly as time goes on. If we get used to doing it in repetition day after day, it becomes a habit. So it's changing. You know, it's not particularly, it's putting new habits in, new beliefs in, but also, like, you know, like it said, it's weeding the garden. Let's clear the weeds out and plant the roses. And there's no hurry for these, you know, we've got to have that patience, we've got to have that persistence, we've got to have that faith. But that's all a process. It doesn't come straight away, it takes time. And I think the more we understand these principles that Napoleon Hill laid out and study this work, and we do a lot of book study and stuff like that, so we'll, you know, read a bit and we'll discuss it, and, you know, and then we'll apply it. I'm not here to, you know, I say I'm not here to make you feel fluffy for a bit. I'm here for you to learn, then apply it, because otherwise, no, it's not going to work. You've got to, you know, we don't want to load any more stuff into our mind. We've got enough. I mean, that's
like approaching a garden where there's a bunch of weeds, it's overgrown. Yeah, there's some stuff that's coming up volunteer, and you really want to hang on to that because, you know, it's free and it's going to produce an abundance for you. But there's all these other weeds around it, so it's really hard to cultivate the soil to make it good for planting seeds. And you do have to weed, and you do have to cultivate the soil, which I think is kind of what you're talking about in terms of laying a foundation. And then you plant the seeds. And the thing I know about planting seeds is you never reap a harvest in the same season that you're planting the seeds. They have to grow. You have to cultivate them. You have to nourish them along the way, and then you'll get a harvest.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, you know, what and certainly what I've done, and certainly what probably most people have done, is you plant the seeds and you go, what's happening?
Yeah.
Nothing's happening. And what you've done is you've sent, as you plant the seed, you sent that energy out, it's all in motion, and then you start disturbing it all. And you're like, no, stop. Because it's, you know, this work is, we're working in the fourth dimension. This is the whole thing, we're working in the fourth dimension. In my belief, everything is already done before we came here. We have infinite possibilities, infinite timelines. we have a choice. That's our free will to pick what timeline we want to be on, enjoy. And the analogy I use with the people I work with is I look at it, I always use like little things like I'm in this mansion and there's lots of rooms, and in order to lift my vibration, the next level is it's in the next room. But as I enter this room, there's people, circumstances and events that I have to encounter for me to get that growth, to get to know myself more, to study myself more, in order to, put new beliefs in order to reach that next vibration, to get through that next door. And there may be some adversities, obstacles in that room that come along, because it's not all plain sailing. It's like this, but it's how we approach it, isn't it? It's like the water coming down the stream. When the water comes down the stream, there's the rocks all the way down. The water doesn't go, oh no, another rock, oh, what am I going to do here, what am I going to do? It just goes by and starts to pass by. And when we start to be able to learn to navigate life like that, and so, I just say, okay, when something happens, right, what's the learning? What's the learning here for me? What do I need to learn? What am I not? And I always think that the universe is trying to show us where we've still got weakness in our body. Because where we all have a gift, we all have a potential inside of us, every single one of us, to do on this earth. And I'm not going to go to my deathbed not trying the best in achieving what I can. I've seen that with people. I've seen many people die with regret. I'm not here to do that. I know that. And I don't, and this is what I try to say to people, you don't want to go there. You don't want to get to that. That last moment when people realise what they've missed out on, and to me, abundance is about relationships, it's about health, it's about spirituality, it's not just material. We don't take material with us, we take also our consciousness with us. So let's raise our vibrational awareness and vibrational frequency, so we take that across with us when we go. And I don't know what happens when that time comes. I mean, we've done it before, but I can't quite remember that bit. but it's I always look at it, and it's just the feeling that we've got the physical world, we've got the spiritual world, and the spiritual they've got the same things going on. We've got people that are very low frequency here that do stuff that shouldn't be done, but I don't believe anyone's evil. I think it's because they're so cut off from the source, they're traumatized, and that's why they do acts they do. I don't look at anyone in that way anymore. Then I've worked with a lot of people with substance misuse and nursing and stuff like that, and I think if we don't do any growth, anything here, we just get caught up in the matrix, as they say. We pass over and that vibration, and then maybe we have to come back and do it again. And I don't know, but that's how I feel. So I think, well, let's try our best this time and do it. It's not that hard. Our minds make it feel like it's really hard, because that's on.
Part of it might be that we're raised and trained to look at the matrix as though it is reality, and not that we create the matrix with all of the thoughts that we have. And the old happiness is a choice. Well, it is a choice. You can choose to be happy, or you could choose to be miserable. It depends on what you want to think about. And you can look for evidence for anything to prove that you're right.
Yeah.
So you may as well, pick what you're going to choose to believe.
Yeah. And
look for confirmation of that.
It is, because sometimes you can wake up in the morning and this, we're moving from different consciousnesses in the morning. You can you can look outside and the skies are grey, and you could go, oh, and I just go, oh, there's an abundance of grey skies today, because you're using that word abundance. And today's going to be a great day. There's going to be you know, a day full of opportunities and greatness and wonders are going to happen. And as soon as you start doing that, you start to change, you start to raise yourself up.
Mhm.
But, or you could go, oh, that's crap out there. And then that's it. You know, and it's always a choice, but I think a lot of people don't know there's a choice as well. I don't think I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. I felt like, you know, when I started nursing, I didn't like nursing when I was training to be a nurse as a student nurse, and I stayed in it 24 years.
Yeah, because that's what you had to do.
Yeah, and
Parents probably said, hey, you need to get a job, go to college and get this education, and then you feel like, okay, I'm trapped because I've got obligations now that are just meeting my income, and so I can't just not do that. What am I going to do? I'll starve to death.
yeah,
Instead
yeah,
of there's always enough.
and that's what it comes down to. You know, Napoleon Hill talks about, you know, the 6 basic fears, and one of them is like the fear of, I mean, I think they all lead to the fear of death. And it's like that thing, you know, if, well, what would happen if you lost your job? Well, I'd have no money. Well, what would happen if you had no money? Well, I'd lose my home. So what would happen if you lose your home? Well, I'd have nowhere to live. And what would happen if you had nowhere to live? Well, I'd have no food. Well, what happened if you had no food? Well, I'll die. And if you run it back, it always runs back to death. So if you start to, because we don't know what's going to happen in life, we don't know. We don't know. We can create in this now moment, because the future is never the future, is it? It's always now.
It's always now. You
Always
only
now.
live in now.
You only live in now. You know, we talk about the future, but it's always the now. So we can create in the now that future we want, or we can create in now that future we don't want. But we also don't know what can happen. But if we feel and we come back to the truth of who we are, that is safety, because we never, you know, we pass from this physical body. That's it. And we go on to, you know, wherever we go on to. So it's the fear is so deeply embedded in this, you know, this society from very young age, from our parents. We take it on from our parents, we take it on from our environment, we take on the programming from everyone. And you know, by the age of 7, 8, we have this personality that's built up with everyone else but ourselves, and we lose who we are. And I always say, I think there's an age, you know, with children around the age. I mean, I've got 2 children, and I've got a granddaughter, and I definitely, you know, looking back, there's a time around the age that's 7 or 8, they sort of lose themselves. That joyousness comes out of them, that freedom, that imagination. It all disappears, and seriousness
Send them to school.
starts. School, yeah, exactly, yeah. And you know, don't daydream. Come back here and listen. What I'm going to tell you. Don't think. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what to think. Don't you think? So yeah, we lose that, but you know, at the same time, we've got these amazing gifts, you know, of imagination, of intuition, of reason, of perception. You know, it's all the things that we can change. We use these, and through a lot of practice, you know, being able to shut out that illusionary world. Like, oh my gosh, my bank balance. Oh my gosh, my bank balance. Ignore the bank balance. Let's create the new bank balance inside of us. Because that's not going to, you start panicking about that, we create more of it. So the antidote to it is to go inward. Don't do that. Inward, create the new, be in that abundance. It's not easy. And I think if, you know, most of the people probably that are watching this or on this sort of thing will have the basic the basic needs met, because we always need our basic needs met first. You know, that's it. But when we've got our basic needs met, we can work on that inside to create. Our imaginations are mine was really poor. Well, it wasn't poor, it was good in the way that wasn't serving me. I'd imagine the worst thing happening all the time, and come 2020, it was the worst thing was me, not in the fear of anything else. I had to think about money and the bank's going bust and I need to get money out of the bank. I need to go into Bitcoin. I need to do it. And there was all this. Well, guess what happened? All my money disappeared because I was in so much fear. It makes me laugh now. I'm glad I can laugh about it. There was a lot that went because I was so in fear. I wanted money out of the banks. Well, it got taken out of the banks. It got taken off me by different means, So there's so much we can be in fear about, or there's so much we can. I mean, the two ends of the stick, aren't they? The love and fear. Then what do we choose? What do we choose? The programming chooses us mostly, so we have to become aware of the programming first. We have to get aware of what's going on with the thoughts first before anything else, and then we can start working with them. But it is a process, and it's not a quick fix. No quick fix.
I know that you, in your coaching program, you have an abundance meditation that you like to share with people.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about how that looks?
So it's really because we work in imagery. So if we are, we don't really, we don't recognize it so quickly, but as soon as we're thinking something, there's an image that comes up and matches, but it's so quick, our brain's working so quickly. So it's like changing images, but with words, and they're flash words that show up, because it's just putting that repetition. So if you watch it, it's only 5 minutes. If you watch it every day, it's putting the same image into the mind, the same words coming up with some nice music behind it. And then watching, it's even like seeing like money. I mean, in this respect, it's talking about money, because a lot of people have got such a poverty mindset. So, and I don't think I didn't realise how I spoke about money. I had no idea how I spoke about it. You can go to the hairdresser. I was at the hairdresser the other day, and somebody who's having the hair washed next to me, and I'm like, reject, not taking it on, oh, and I can't afford to do that. And oh, have you seen this, how much this is? And you hear these conversations, and people don't realise what they're doing. They're stopping the flow of money, they're stopping the flow of abundance of money. So this is really just a programming, just to watch for 5 minutes a day. And even like if you listen to the music on its own, it will then trigger off the images in your head, because that's what starts to happen. You only have to watch or see a word and it'll trigger the whole thing off in your head. So it's always doing stuff in repetition, watching over and over again, and it's actually really nice to watch. So it'll, there'll be stuff like it's not just money, there's confidence. It's like a woman coming along, so it writes across with confidence, but she's got an air of confidence about her when she walks past, and oh, she looks good, she looks strong. So it makes you, I like to be like that. What does that take? Well, let's stand up straight, let's pull our shoulders back, let's align our spine, because let's walk straight, and let's put an inner smile on our face, because you can see it on hers. And when we put the inner smile on, we do this on the group, we did a bit of a thing that let's everyone do an inner smile for a week and see what happens. Well, everyone noticed the difference. People looking at you, and you're not smiling through your mouth, you're smiling through that inner smile, which shines out through your energy field, and people pick that up and they look and they go, that feels good. She feels good. They don't even, you're not even consciously saying that, but they just, because we're all passing his energy out. So it's just picking up little bits like that, and yeah, so it's really nice. It's got some beautiful music behind it. Beautiful music.
And we'll put the link for that in the show notes so that people can get access to it.
Yeah.
So you coach people in groups and in one-on-one. How does it look for people to work with you?
So I do with the foundations course, what I've done, it's a requirement now to do the foundations before we do the coaching, because it makes it so much easier to transition into the coaching after that. And it's because we the foundations is like the weeding of the garden. We're going to weed the garden first, and then the coaching is we're putting the seeds in and we're planting the flowers, and we do a lot of study. We do a lot of understanding of this work, and we work through the principles at the same time. So the foundations course is an 8-week course, and then it runs into the coaching group, which is well, at the moment we're running actually, and it was the group that wanted this at this time. It will change this because it will have to change because it's not doable for me to be able to do it. But I actually coach them on the coaching call once a week, and I do a one-to-one with them every fortnight at the moment. But they asked for that, and then I do people just separately, one-to-one. That's it. But some of them like the group because they, and at the moment they get, access to sort of me to speak to, and if things, on a day-to-day basis, I'll speak to the other people, and it's all done on the foundations is done on Kajabi. The coaching group isn't, but they also have access to that and they can use that as well.
So do you run them in cohorts? Like everybody starts at the same time, or is it kind of rolling?
Oh, they just don't seem to be. The ones who've been in the coaching group they've stayed on. The ones that have been on the foundations, obviously that's just a short one. So you can do you can do that as a standalone, basically. You don't have to lead on to anything else. Or you can do that as come into that and then come into one-to-one work or coaching. I mean, really, if you come into one-to-one work, you don't have to do the foundations, because I would do that work with people singularly. But also the group seem to help each other. There's they gain a bit of community together, which is quite nice. And when you hear other people's experiences, it often you go, oh yeah, I can relate with that. So that does help as well.
I'm a big proponent of groups. I think groups is where the magic is. You meet people that you might not ever have met before, and you're all on the same path, but you've got different perceptions of what's happening, and it's really.
Yeah, I mean, I've made such good friends through my mentorship as such, that, which have come, these people for there's a future thing that I've got really big plans to do something. And these people that I've met on this journey are all going to come into play in that. So it's, it's the people we meet on the way and we've become friends with. I originally, before I even started the coaching, ran a retreat, and it was the people from that first came on the group, because they got so much from it. I'm a chance yet. I'd love to do another retreat, but yeah, that's maybe next year.
That'd be awesome.
Can't do it all.
I have really enjoyed this conversation with you. And it's the one thing that you hope the audience will take away from our conversation?
Because the one thing I would think to take away is to really tune in, go, what do I really think about myself? How do I think, feel, act towards myself? And sometimes if we look outside of ourselves, if there's somebody that is in our vicinity that doesn't talk to us very nicely, then know that you are talking to yourself worse, because we are our own critic. And when we change the concept of how we feel about ourselves, when we come into our heart energy, when we come into our love energy and start to know who we really are, everything changes inside first. And then it starts to reflect on the outside. And when you start to change, it's like you start to become a magnetic force. and people just start appearing in your life, and things start appearing in your life. And that's out of everything. If we can change the way we feel about ourselves, our self-belief, our self-confidence, our self-worth, all those things, letting go, forgiveness, then the world is your oyster, starts to open up.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.